morning, and I'm glad you had time to click the video and come to see your old pal Walter. And today I don't have any script. This is going to be just my morning coffee with my grizzly beard that I should have gotten rid of a long time ago. And we are going to talk about 5th edition and why I feel like it doesn't care about Dungeon Masters and why that's the reason it's gonna fail. And when I'm talking about 5th edition, I should probably start talking about ONED&D, right? I'm talking about Wizards of the Coast D&D franchise, like overall. I'm gonna need some more coffee to talk about this one. So yeah, you have heard all the yada yada yadas. Yeah, my first system was 5th edition and I played it and then I got bored with it and you know, this old story, so I won't go there. But what I will say, that if you have studied the history of D&D or if you have been playing the system for a long time, then you know that subject I'm talking about is not uncommon in the franchise's history. And the phenomenon I'm talking about is the overloading of the system. That there will be some point that the system itself has so much information, it has so much different material that it's just unbearable. Yeah, like the first time the system got bloated was during 2nd edition, I think. And it is natural, like it's natural when you make more and more content to your base game and it's in some point like there's nothing more to sell. But I think the main reason why this has happened and why these games haven't become like this cult classic that keep it and a gift that keeps on giving is their approach to the game on a business standing point, because I really want to talk about the business standpoint in a sense that of course it's business's idea is to make money, and what I'm suggesting that it will go against their business sense as well, the way they are doing things right now. They could create more sustainable economical product by doing things a little bit differently. Tabletop role-playing game market is unique in a sense compared to other game markets. Not only you have one type of audience that you are selling the product to, but you have two types of audiences that you are selling the product to. If we compare tabletop role-playing games to normal board games, you have only one audience, the players. The players who, one of the players buy the game and then the other players come and they play the game together. They all have the same role. I bet you're guessing already that where this is going. And so the tabletop role-playing game has two audiences. They have players and game masters, referees, dungeon masters, whatever you want to call them. Call us. It's one of those rare games that it has two unique roles under a same product that will have kind of different functions to the game, but still equally vital that the game is playable and the product is usable and that it creates these environments that the company can sell more products to. Sorry about this corporate talk, but I really want to emphasize that the business side is flawed as well. For me, that's really interesting that they're really doubling down selling the product to players, which is on quickly on the paper side of things. Like if you are looking only the statistics, it will okay, it makes sense. There are generally more people that are players than GMs. Like it would make sense. Like of course we are making it more towards to the players. But the problem is, in order to have 5 players like functionally using the product and possibly buying more products for the game, you need at least one GM. So the more GMs you are able to engage with your product, the more base for players you have. And also the GMs are the ones who reel the players into the product. Like most of the time. And again, this is only my empiric thoughts and what I have read from the Reddit and what I have talked with other GMs. Most of the time, when people say they are getting fed up to Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, it usually comes from the GM side. Usually the GMs are like, I'm getting so bored. I just can't do this anymore. And why I like started to make this rant is because like the 5th edition really annoys me. And I'm an adult, so if there is like some product sometime that I don't like, I don't agree on, it's like fine, I just don't use that product and move on. So it's been really interesting that I have had like this almost like these strong emotions, like this strong annoyance against 5th edition. And it's been weird, and I have really have to like do some reflection, like why is that? Why I am so annoyed about this product. And usually what's like really hits home for me and what really annoys me usually is situations where I feel like I have been treated unfairly. And then I realized that that's exactly the case here. Like as a GM, I feel like the game is treating me unfairly opposed to the players. Like GM really gets ignored in the game system, because if you really like think about all the adventures, all the source books we have gotten in these few years, they are mostly subclasses, they are mostly magic items for players to use. They are like occasional monsters, yeah, sure, but like the most prominent things have been player options. And it's really funny that like the game just assumes that they can just give any powers to players that they want and it's fine, and it's just like, yeah, it's up to the GM to just make it work. Like, yeah, now they can be powerful dragon monks with dragon wings and can give resistances to friends, and it's fine, the GM will figure it out. And I'm trying to figure out like what are the actual good GM tools that we have been given from the 5th edition. And it really feels like the GMs are getting left out. It really creates this kind of situation where if GM would be a parent and players would be the children, 5th edition source books would be like the annoying neighbors, like the lady who you have talked to many times and said like, okay, you cannot give sugar or sweets to my children. We have like strict rules when to eat the like all the sweet stuff, and we have now like make a deal with the children that they will get sweets on the evening but not on today, like on the day. And the aunt just won't listen to you and just give all the sugar to children that they will get like sugar rush and they will just jump around. And even though you are like trying to communicate with the neighbor's lady and say like, this is how we would like to do in our family, and they don't like care about your rules at all. So yeah, they are giving the players the stuff that they think the players would want, and what the players think they would want, but not what that would be good for them or what they could actually like enjoy. If you would like really give GM great tools to actually create interesting adventures and different mechanics that doesn't involve all the time the player empowerment and player powers, you could create a lot more interesting stories and in a different ways that could really prolong the lifespan of the game. And of course you can just argue that, well, you just don't use the system or don't use the material, but like if the game provides you something, it's usually meant to like be used in the system. So it leaves the feeling that the 5th edition really doesn't care, or ONED&D really doesn't care about GMs at all. And I have read like the new patch notes to ONED&D, and to be completely fair, I'm not impressed. Like it's the same, and I know that it's basically the system. It's not. It's fine. it really is fine. There could be a lot of possibility to really like create an okay system with different challenges, but the position it's now, it's really hard to like reel back it all and to like really make it. I hate the word balanced system, but I don't mean balance in a sense like character combat balance. I mean like overall the balance of the aspects of the different game. And like one of the biggest problems for 5th edition has been adversary of GMs and players, and feel like GMs and players are like fighting against each other. I don't blame the people who think that way. Like if the system always just gives players a frivolously amount of power, it's really driving GMs to the corner to try to challenge them. For example, if you want to create an adventure, the game gives players only guns, like different kinds of guns, and like military grade kind of guns and tanks. No other gear, just guns. And this is not like talking about actual gear. This is just metaphor. But yeah, the game gives players just guns. As a GM, I'm like, okay, this players has only like these big guns, so I should create obstacles that involves big creatures that they can shoot with the guns. You know, if you know what I'm saying, like yeah, I could like create like there's a locked door with different keys that you have to find. But if they only have the guns, they are like, well, we have the tank, we could just blow open the door, and they do it, and you are just okay, there it goes. And so better create the big monsters then. There is easy problem fix to every problem. They have almost virtually created impossible to make very like this kind of interesting challenges. I'm really like talking about this as a player standpoint as well. For a change, I was the player, and our game master, who is like has been my player for a long time, Minimaxer, really good with numbers, really good with the game mechanics, had created very interesting challenges. Our players destroyed this arcane golem in this kind of god's tower, and the golem malfunctioned and created this explosion that made us like really small, which was really interesting, and it created like really interesting aspects of the game. Like going through the corridor was like a week-long hike almost now, and there were like this basically a giant rat, which was like Tarrasque size for us now. The spells size did not change, so if we tried to do spells, it was the original size, so it was crazy. But still, when we would have like this many interesting kind of ideas of how we could deal with the rat, because we needed a piece of rat's tail, and we made this elaborate plan how we could like quickly slice a piece of the rat's tail and then quickly run away, and we had like the all things planned out, and then just one of our players like, but I have this mind whip, so I can just and and the player just killed the rat outright, and like it just watered down like all our crazy ideas, which would have been like the great adventure. But everything has a quick fix now. Everything can be solved like this, because players have all the powers. They have keys to do anything they want, and by multiclassing, one character can do anything perfectly. And when we are talking about the combat side of things, because let's be fair, 5th edition is basically, its main point is to kill monsters. GM creates monsters, players kills them, and that's the most time spent in the game. So to me it's really funny that like, and don't get me wrong, I love to create combat challenges. I love to create combat scenes as a GM as well. Combat is really important aspects in my game always. The best challenges I have created for my players is through character creation actually. The biggest challenges for my players and biggest villains have been me just creating another character, like a player character. Because I really feel like Dungeons and Dragons don't have any great tools for GMs to create monsters, which is weird. I think there are like basic monster creation tools on Dungeon Master's book. Actually, let me check that real quick. Yeah, I was quickly checking my Dungeon Master's PDF, and yeah, it really is nothing to write home about. Like, yeah, it tells you all the aspects of the monster. It tells you the name, size, type, that like all the things you have to like figure out. But in almost in every chapter, it's like, yeah, compare it to the monster manual monster, and like you can modify the monster by creating. Like, no, give me freaking options. And like usually it's just modify them a bit or give them a different weapon. That's like really lazy and not giving like players at all, like, I'm sorry, not giving GMs like a good option to like really create interesting challenges. Let's compare it to the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. In that, you are given like amazing monster creation like system. It gives you different sizes, and it tells like, okay, how the HP of these different sizes are like count. It also like gives you all like good options, like if it's a big monster, what kind of stats you should give it. If it's a like wise monster, what kind of stats you should give it. It also has this monster ability chart that you can pick different aspects of an interesting aspects for a monster to have. They are also, it's the same list that is like with the monsters that the book already contains, but you can take the abilities, they are stripped down individually, and you can mix and match them as the way you want it, and not just like, yeah, well, what's the monsters from this book, and then just modify it. Like, no, it actually gives me a good drawing board to create my own creature, which is amazing. And that I would have loved that in 5th edition. I would have loved that I would have had the option to use that kind of creation tool when I was first starting to do my own monsters. And also a great example of a game that loves their GM is Mouse Reader. Like, the half of the book is just how to make the world feel alive, how to make interesting challenges for the players, how to create an adventure that is rewarding, challenging and rewarding, and like really how to help as a GM players to explore the world and give them the feeling of success. Like, really not antagonize, like, you have to like almost kill your players. Not in a sense, but like giving very good tips and options to how to create these interesting challenges to your players. And that game like really wants the GM to have the easiest time to also to enjoy the game and create these adventures together with the players. And that will also create experiences that the players will love, and they want to be game master, and they want to pick up the book, and they want to create their own group and like bring in more players. That's how you create a good product that will bring in more and more players that you can sell more stuff to, in my opinion. And that is why I feel like the 5th edition and ONED&D doesn't really care about their GMs, and that's why there will be a point that there won't be any more GMs to run the games, except for the paid ones who are doing that professionally, because the game is not giving much tools to GMs to keep up with the player powers and keep up with the different stuff. Yeah, of course you can as a GM to just take the player tools, but they are tools for the players. They are meant for the players to use. So yeah, it's very you feel underappreciated as a GM in 5th edition, and that's why I feel so strong annoyance against the system, because mostly my identity is as a GM, and I really, that's the place I enjoy. being the most when I play tabletop role-playing games. And that's my morning rant. Thank you for listening this long, very uneducated and very well, bad grammar at least. I'm still trying to practice on my English, so I apologize for my bad pronunciations and bad use of language. By the way, if you want to see more my bad use of language, you can come watch my first solo RPG experience that will happen in this channel really soon. It's going to be World of Delmara survival horror experience, and I'm going to play a survival horror game. If you enjoy Silent Hill and Resident Evil, the solo experience will be in the premise of those types of games. And yeah, we are going to create the narrative together there, or it going to be unfold using Mythic GM emulator. And yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Let's see if we can create this intense solo RPG experience, which I've been like soft testing the systems to really see what game system I'm going to use, and I have really been excited about the results. But yeah, hopefully I see you there, and thank you for watching this video. And I don't know how the YouTube algorithm is working nowadays. I haven't been really looking into it too much in recent times, but I guess you can like the video. I just maybe comment, watch the video, tell about your friends, and I don't know, do something fancy over there. And you can always watch my other videos. Now I will probably go to shave my beard, take some actual breakfast, and then I will start setting up the solo RPG experience, and hopefully get to record a session of that I will get to edit, and I will get it out for you soon. But that's for my rant, and you are a wonderful person. You are deep down somewhere. And if you're a GM, respect. If you're a player, respect. And yeah, talk about your experiences. Talk about your experiences on the comments.